You're already up and running around, probably figuring out the next Shedeur Sanders story. What's going on, man? How's it going there?
Shedeur's going on. That's what's going on. It's like I was telling this the other day. My wife's got like to find my phone on my phone. She can like basically. I'm like a Sims character to her, right? She can just track me anywhere that I go. That's us with Shedeur now. We're taking him to football fields. We're taking him to. He's running hills. He's going to the high schools. He's going to grammar schools. Like, and we got every single hour on the hour. We know where Shedeur's at and what he's doing.
Does it get old?
No, I love it. But I really like Shedeur too, though. So that's a difference. I think for the people that didn't like Shedeur going into this has become a lot for them. But I think for myself, I was a Shedeur guy. I think he's wildly accurate. I think there's a lot of talent there. And so I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Let me ask you this before Smitty jumps in. Is it fair to Dillon Gabriel, though?
I mean, I'm not really concerned about that. I don't know that the Browns will be either. But what I will say that's working in Dillon Gabriel's favor, Stefanski clearly loves him. Like, that is a Stefanski guy. That is if you made me guess, I would say that that was Andrew Berry looking out for Kevin Stefanski in making that pick in the third round. Like I've heard a lot about Stefanski's love for Dillon Gabriel. So I don't think Dillon Gabriel's got to worry about it. Just go be better than Shedeur and don't worry about it.
Were you surprised, since we're talking about the draft right now, were you surprised when you heard the name Dillon Gabriel at that particular pick? Or did you kind of have – you were shocked? Okay.
Shocked. Yeah. I mean, I bet you guys were too. But like in Cleveland, we break it down starting January 1st, I believe, is the first time I said Shedeur Sanders will be a Brown. Like, I mean, it's 4 months of nonstop quarterback discussion, bringing on every guest in the world, talking it out, finding out who's great, who's not, everything up and down. And I don't think we brought up Dillon Gabriel maybe once. I mean, I think at one point I was rude and called him an Oompa Loompa, and that was really about it. Like, I mean, that was – we didn't bring him up once, and then there he was in the third round. And I mean, did the Browns take him so that it would make sure Jimmy Haslam didn't take and say, hey, we need Shedeur Sanders? I don't know. Conspiracy theories abound there. But they like him. They like him a lot.
Where you at with let me ask you something. So this thing's going to unfold here. You're going to all these guys in the room with a lame duck salary and Deshaun Watson, who knows if he'll ever play again in Cleveland or anywhere else. Let me ask you, when you break this down, Flacco and Pickett go at it. Is it possible or feasible that this room right now are all Browns? Because you're only going to probably roster 3, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're only going to roster 3. So Pickett or Flacco, one of them is going to lose out this battle.
And they'll go.
If you made me guess right now, I would say Pickett wins the battle over Flacco. Not because he's better, but like, think about it, guys. The more darts at the dartboard, you want to see what you got. If Stefanski can take Kenny Pickett and turn him into what Kevin O'Connell did with Sam Darnold, think about how you view Kevin Stefanski. You think he's back to being the quarterback whisperer. He's back to being this guy that knows what he's doing when it comes to quarterbacks. And so I think it's in Stefanski's best interest to go that route. Because let's be honest, I don't know how serious they are about 2025 in general to begin with.
No doubt. They might be doing another draft for another quarterback again in a year from now. That's the crazy part about it. So you think Flacco or Pickett is gone either to another team or gone? Flacco, in his case, he may say, fuck that. I'm hanging him up. Who knows? Like 40 years old or whatever. It's going to be interesting, man. I love Flacco. I think he's just a nutty gutty performer. I wouldn't be shocked if he wins it either. But Pickett, obviously the youth, we'll see. Like, a good point you made on that one. Where's the whole thing with Deshaun Watson? Like, how does that affect your guys' roster as far as going forward? Like, is this a salary cap issue? I know they deferred money, another $30 million or whatever. They've done that, twice with them now? How's that work?
So you can't really get rid of them. Basically, March 2027. That's the time frame. March 2027 is the first time you can actually just kind of get them off your roster and then not just destroy you from a cap ramification standpoint. And so he'll be there. He's going to be injured and he'll be on, I would imagine, the IL for the majority of the season. And now with this crowded quarterback room, I think it's everyone's best interest to just have him not do anything this year. And then, like, if I'm Deshaun, I mean, I just start to pivot towards the following year, getting myself 100% and then trying to go to another team after that. But, yeah, it's March 2027 is the first part.
Jeez.
Man, that's been just a crazy situation that I've never seen before, JB.
Hey, Jonathan, I got to ask you, there's a viral video going on. Myles Garrett said this is exactly what I knew we were going to do at the quarterback position. And everyone's like, shut the hell up, Miles. Where are you at with that take?
Wait, you're telling me Myles Garrett lied to a lot of people once again? I'm shocked.
Once again, that's the key phrase you just said.
It's so funny. He does a whole press conference talking about how he's so excited to be a Cleveland Brown, and it wasn't about the money, and they gave him this big master plan and everything, and it's like no one believes you. But then he goes and he does this interview that's going obviously viral, and he did this right after that press conference, by the way, right after it, and he does this video, and everyone's like, "Oh, Myles, telling the truth once again. They have a plan." It's like he just spent 40 minutes telling you all these lies. Why are you believing him? And so, yeah, I'm not taking much that Myles has to say to heart right now.
Him and Micah Parsons got to be 1 and 2, or 1A and 1B as far as full of shit meter. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Where else?
I hope he keeps getting sacks, though. He could lie as much as he wants.
Oh, he's a freak, no doubt.
For sure.
What's your biggest roster spots that need to be addressed? Is it wide receiver? Is it where is it? Interior D line, backer? Where are you guys at as far as a roster going forward to be a competitive in AFC North? Probably maybe them in the West might be the two best divisions in football with the NFC North as well. Where are you at with what they need to compete and get to make it another playoff run?
Yeah, wide receiver, you nailed that one. And then they got it. I was shocked they didn't draft anything on the offensive line, because it's like right now this year it won't be the end of the world. You got Petonio for one more year, and then I would bet he retires. But you have everyone not named DeJuan Jones and Zach Zinner on that offensive line, and Zach Zinner's not a starter, up for contract at the end of this season. So like they're all going to be free agents. They do nothing there. And so not addressing that and going 2 running backs, going 2 quarterbacks in the draft, that was a big shock for a lot of people.
Man. So to me, what it sounds like, what you're saying, Jonathan, is that this year is going to be another down year for Cleveland, more than likely. It's going to be another year where they're bottom of the division, won't miss the playoff. Defense will probably play tough, keep them in some games, and it'll be the same old Cleveland story. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, unless Shedeur is just awesome, or Dylan Gabriel's just awesome, and then they get to pivot. But yeah, like the whole point of the draft was you get Mason Graham, but you get that extra first-round pick, and you set yourself up for not this year, but next year. It was all about 2026, and this being that like poison pill year, based off the idea that when you traded Deshaun Watson and got Deshaun Watson, you just set yourself up in such a bad way that you have to dig out of it a little bit. And so that's what this is. You guys know this. It's football. This isn't baseball. We have to tear it down to the studs for 5 years. You can do this quick, but the Browns had to do it maybe in a 1-year, 2-year fix.
Is Stefanski's job safe though? Like can he afford like having like another down year and still have a job next year? Like, is that okay? You're shaking your head yes.
No, I'm shaking my head yes, because you're nailing it. Like that's exactly the question. Like I don't think he can personally. He's got a belief within the front office that they are, and really Jimmy has them, that they're giving them enough of a runway. But think about it, guys. 6 years, 1 playoff win. Who keeps their job after that? But so far, Stefanski's been able to.
No doubt. Man. Hey, Jonathan, you from the Cleveland area? Are you born and raised straight from there, or?
No, I'm a Chicago guy. Initially, now I've been in Cleveland for about 10 years or so, and so Chicago guy originally though.
Got you. Let me ask you something. The Cincinnati Bengals, obviously across the river there, and you guys are a big time rivalry and all that stuff in that division alone. Re-signed T. Higgins. They got Jamar Chase. They're gonna make all these moves. They got these wideouts in Joe Burrow. Yeah. Obviously, Lamar's sitting in Baltimore, and obviously every year they're argued to be in the favorite of the Super Bowl hunt and the playoffs and all this stuff. Where is the like Cleveland fan base when you think about all this and they're like, man, we got Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincy. How do we compete with this? And then we get the quarterback room to what we have. We thought we had a splash into Shaun. A whole thing's unfolded. Is it all come down to the quarterback trying to compete with Lamar and Joe Burrow in that division, or is it bigger than that?
It's a lot about the quarterback. What's interesting, though, is when I first got here, everyone was just scared of Big Ben. And that was really it. You weren't that scared of Flacco, but you respected Flacco. And Cincinnati was never that serious. So you just kind of let it go. And now, I mean, and I do believe, like the Browns make picks based off of who's in just the AFC North. JUCO, the linebacker, was made to stop Lamar Jackson. It was a whole pick just to stop Lamar Jackson. So they're very well aware of the quarterbacks in this division right now, as you should be. But I think that's why they went with Deshaun Watson. I think that kick-started everything. Is looking around, and at the time, I like Baker Mayfield, I was a Baker Mayfield guy. But at the time, what I believe they thought was that Baker Mayfield could only get you so far, like top 10 quarterback, 10-ish around there, if everything goes right. Now, they were wrong about that, but that's why they went for Deshaun, is because they knew they had to have like a top 5 quarterback somewhere in that range if you're going to compete with Lamar, Joe Burrow, and then obviously, whoever the Steelers end up putting out there.
I'm glad I was going to bring up Baker. I'm glad you brought up Baker Mayfield. Like, since you're there in Cleveland, boots on ground, like, are fans kind of upset that Baker's not there now? Just looking at his success, I know he's hopped around a little bit, but he's found a home with the Bucs, and he's been pretty damn good with them. Are fans in the area kind of upset about him not being there?
It was so split. Like, half the fan base loved him. I was in the camp that loves him, and now I just seem like I love every quarterback. That's not the case. I love Baker, and I love Shedeur, and that's really about it in between here. But I love Baker, but it was like it was as divisive as the Shedeur Sanders convo is. I don't know why Cleveland Browns fans. It's like 50-50 always with these quarterbacks. But Baker reminds me a lot of Shedeur in many ways, though, and I have to figure out why in my brain I like a guy like that. The guy that seems like they're maybe an underdog a lot of their life and then are just rising up. Like Baker was a walk-on where he had to host Patrick Mahomes for a visit at Texas Tech and was like, oh, you mean I'm not going to win this quarterback battle? Let me go transfer and let me go to a different school. And, you look at Shedeur and all the battles he's had to overcome and what he's able to go ahead and rise up with. Like, there's got to be something there that in my brain loves that story, but they both have that story. And what's interesting is half of Cleveland loves that story and the other half just doesn't.
Interesting.
Let me ask you something real quick, man. And I want to hold you. I know you got the babies and stuff. Let me ask you something real quick. There's obviously the viral video of going Stefanski and the GM kind of just when you pick Shedeur, right? And it's kind of like a nonchalant. And I know kind of how the draft works a little more than that. And I know it's more of a longer deal. It's been a 3-day deal. And they're probably like, fuck, they actually did that with every pick they made. Let me ask you, what's the sentiment like that as hard as Shedeur fell, everyone out there seeming to think, oh, this was Haslam and this was an ownership call with Dion and Haslam and Dion's relationship, and they made Stefanski take Shedeur, and Shedeur had been passed by and taken off boards and other teams and Ross, all this stuff. Is there any deep dive into that you guys do as a radio show? Like, hey, is this really something we wanted, or is this something we just had to take?
Yeah, for sure. And so, like, I had people from the Browns tell me that it was not a Jimmy Haslam decision. But I would tell you guys this. What do you think people from the Browns are going to tell me? So you kind of got to suss it out a little bit. I still believe it was Jimmy Haslam. I think he was involved in it. He's done a very good job of staying away in recent years. Like, I'll commend him. He's stayed away. He likes this group, and Barry, D. Podesta, Stefanski, he likes this group. But I mean, I just, I wasn't born yesterday too. You know what I mean? Like, I think Haslam was involved in that one, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. And now it's on Stefanski to go ahead and between Gabriel and Shedeur, show us why you're good at coaching quarterbacks. Show us why you can do this.
Because, like, at the end of the day, is there a way that this backfires on Stefanski and ultimately gets him fired? Let's just say, for instance, Shedeur beats out Dillon Gabriel. Now, why did you take Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round? Like that's going to be the question, right? Like, is that something that backfires on this thing?
I don't think so. If he gets Shedeur to a place that's significantly better than Dillon Gabriel, but the Browns are winning, I think it's going to be looked at like, you're great. You can do this with anybody. In fact, I think it'll be like the greatest thing Stefanski could pull off because so many people just don't believe in Shedeur's talent the way that I do.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. We shall see. I'm the Shedeur supporter on this show. JB thinks he's not that good. And hey, now we're at a point though, instead of us arguing back and forth, I say, hey, time will tell. The film won't lie. Now, the one thing that we agree upon though is that when you're drafted as a 5th round guy, typically though, in terms of the way the practice goes and just in terms of like reps, your reps are very much limited when it comes to just how many, especially reps with the one receivers. You're probably not gonna get too many reps throwing the ball at them, and so like Shedeur really has it's gonna be tough for him to like really go out there and improve himself to even. Because you got people online saying Shedeur's going to be the day 1 starter, and it's that I don't see that. But to even get to that point, he's going to have to really, shock the coaches during his few reps that he gets at practice. Like, do you see that being a problem at all, like reps?
No question. I mean, think about how crowded this room is already. That's why I think it's so important that they add value to either Flacco or Pickett and are able to move them as quick as they can. Because, as you mentioned, I mean, there's just not enough reps to go around.
Yeah.
No doubt.